The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.
Good evening, this is TV1 News. I'm Marisila Keleton.
And I'm Rex Lita. Join me later for sports.
In this edition, PNG Power faces insolvency, agencies put on notice over Porgera reopening dates, and FIFA president due in PNG this Sunday. Visitors from France, India and Japan have started arriving to attend the biggest annual event in Enga province, the 29th Annual Enga Cultural Show, which commences this Friday, August 11. It will run for 2 days. 44 sing groups from across all 6 districts of Enga, 15 schools in the area and several groups from neighboring villages will take part as well. Governor for Enga, Sir Peter Ipetus, stated that Enga is currently under a 3-month curfew, which prevents people from moving around between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. Sing groups from the most remote areas of the province have the strongest traditional culture and lifestyle, which is the authenticity that the Enga Cultural Show is famous for. Enga Cultural Show has also received support from sponsors this year, including PNG Tourism Promotion Authority and the National Cultural Commission. World Indigenous Business Forum leaders from the headquarters in Canada arrived in Wednesday to give updates on the upcoming forum, which will set stage here in PNG in the nation's capital from the 23rd to 26th of October. Founder and president of the Indigenous Leadership Development Institute, Inc., Rosa Walker, and director of WIBF, Bob Hambleton, were present at the MRDC building for the one-day meet.
Leaders for the World Indigenous Business Forum traveled to PNG to update the country on the upcoming forum to be staged in Port Moresby from October the 23rd to the 26th this year. Founder and president of the Indigenous Leadership Development Institute, Rosa Walker, said it's a bidding process to host WIBF due to the potential to bring delegates to a particular country could have an economic impact of $2 to $5 million for the local economy.
So right now, we are working with countries to come here. Some of them include Taiwan, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, United States, Colombia, Chile, Guatemala. So right now we have those particular countries who will be represented here in Papua New Guinea. We're really excited because our agenda is all about business. How do we conduct business with each other? How do we support each other? How do we invest in your country and Indigenous people and the opportunities that exist here? That's the whole reason we're coming here.
Walker elaborated that they would like to create partnerships, provide a platform where Indigenous people can work together with other Indigenous people, create synergies and make money. Director of WIBF, Bob Hambleton, shared that the forum could be an opportunity for families to explore the country as well. She shared that leaders coming to the forum are Indigenous and non-Indigenous because they recognize that they are instrumental to the economy as well.
We do recognize that when people come to a forum, they're traveling quite a long distance. They're taking time away from their families. They're, coming to work with us. So we encourage people to bring their families along with them because we recognize that this is a forum. It's a destination. Let's treat it as a holiday as well. So we do encourage everybody to come. You will really enjoy the agenda that we have of different industries speaking, agriculture, AI, tourism, pharmaceutical. We've got many different people that are coming. So we do encourage you to come, spend some time with us, get to know our people, and we'd love to get to know you too.
The team will travel back today and will be back in October with the rest of the global leaders. Jasmine Irujak, TV1 News.
The Chief Executive Officer for the PNG Agriculture Company, Brad Jackson, is assuring the country that the upcoming World Indigenous Business Forum in October 2023 will bring great trading relationships. WIBF was held in New York City, Sydney, Australia, Namibia, Africa, Guatemala, Honolulu, Hawaii, Saskatoon, Chile, Rotorua, New Zealand, Vancouver, Canada, Colombia, and now Port Moresby in PNG. Jackson, who attended several forums, including the forum in Sydney, said that it was impactful and the engagement of Indigenous people together brought power and pride.
That there's been some great trading relationships. Cocoa from Colombia into Canada. I've seen relationships between Asia and Chile, for example. So it's a really great opportunity to build networks and create new trading relationships with other Indigenous communities. I've been living here now for about the last 7 or 8 years in Cockapole, and I've fallen in love with the country. It's full of opportunity. It's the most diverse, no doubt the most diverse country in the world.
Since this session of Parliament began, State-owned Enterprise Minister William Duma has publicly proclaimed embarrassment of state-owned electricity company PNG Power Limited. In his ministerial statement today, Minister Duma told Parliament that the government, through its trustee shareholder, Kumul Consolidated Holdings Limited, and other agencies, have begun the first phase of a rescue plan approved by the National Executive Council. Minister for State-Owned Enterprises William Duma says state-owned electricity company PNG Power Limited has over the course of many years been allowed to drift without effective oversight or concerns for its finances, transparency and accountability, with constant change of executive management.
PNG Power has reached a critical point where all financial indications show that this company is in danger of insolvency, and it requires significant cost-cutting and recapitalization. PNG Power, Mr. Acting Speaker, has not made a profit since 2016 and has accumulated losses from 2013 totaling 593.4 million kina. It owed, Mr. Acting Speaker, about 882 million to unsecured creditors at the end of last year. Mr. Acting Speaker, President Speaker, based on the 2022 financial results, PNG Power is averaging 76.9 million kina in revenue a month and incurring 91 million kina a month in costs.
Minister Duma insists that PNG Power Limited is now embarking on a comprehensive and far-reaching restructure.
I must confirm that in March 2023, the National Executive Council of the Malabar government approved funding of 211 million kina for PNG Power Limited. Mr. Speaker, this is the first time in so many years for a government to give direct funding to PNG Power. Mr. Speaker, the Malabar government has put its money where its mouth is. For the first time, Mr. Speaker. With support from Treasury, PNG Power will execute a financial and technical turnaround at PNG Power. Corporate restructuring is aimed to cost about 26 million kina. Technical reform relating to engineering and retail will cost 155 million kina, with contingencies set at 30 million kina.
Furthermore, Minister Duma says Kumul Consolidated Holdings, PNG Power Limited and the Treasury has successfully sourced 1.75 billion kina in funding to support PNG Power's 15-year power sector development plan, consisting of 720 million kina from the ADB, 250 million kina from the Australian Infrastructure Finance for the Pacific, and 105 million kina from the World Bank. The plan is for the funds to be released over the next 15 years. Despite the efforts of State-Owned Enterprises Ministry, members of Parliament have expressed weariness towards the plans for the restructure of PNG Power Limited.
So I'm not sure if any of that structural change will be made, because whilst we talk about it that we are going to look at some kind of behavioral change within the organization, again, I come back to the point, radical surgery, and I want to stress that many of these people need to be removed from their jobs. They have proven that they are incapable of running such an organization. They've just run it straight into the ground.
We might trust the minister and trust the process that is going on, or you may by suggest the minister for other option. And I want to say from the outset that we should be open to other option. Because Mr. Speaker, I think, bottom line, Lord, is right. You can ask him, you yet. Suppose you plug you like investing money, you me all member, ya. Would you honestly, personal money, you? Would you want to put your money in PNG Power with this current condition, Longen? And if you honestly know that your money going in, personal money blow you, or account blow you yet, you're going to invest in this company, that it will not bring you any return, then I think we have to think about the other change, perhaps radical or some governable is speaking with talk Longen.
TVWAN News continues when we return. Stay with us.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSP Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase easy pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSP branch today to register now for BSP Mobile Banking. BSP Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSP, our bank, our people.
You like serving on winning but scale rice matchy pack? Scale rice like giving you plenty chance to winning plenty scale prizes. Kind price of them 256 per scale rice Nabi set, 192 per scale rice Kemo Eski, now 44 per JBL and Co speakers, 102 per wireless microphone. The win, buy me a scale rice or oil rice products, writing full name na contact details below box and receipt, na drop him inside the entry box. You get 4 per draws, 4 per fortnight, 116 per winners, na 16 per promotion locations. Just try us on. You got terms na conditions for this plan.
A true champion is measured by their courage, their determination, and their passion to never give up and to always keep trying. With a delicious Milo and milk taste and added nutrients, Milo and milk is a great way to fuel our little champions with nourishing energy every day. Because true champions give it their all.
Milo, PNG and Mia. Find PNG made.
Right across the nation, we eat snacks crackers. Emi trubla. All get a young planalapun, only like him snacks crackers. Only make him here, no PNG, one time lay biscuit company. It's crunchy and tasty. It's irresistible.
Open hands.
The ICC Men's Cricket World Cup 2023 is almost here.
What a beauty! He's on absolute fire! My goodness! Schuster, chips, follows! There's the chip and chase! There it is! Go
Welcome back. Chairman of Weatherman Capital Advisors Limited, Jordan Paul, acknowledged the Securities Commission of PNG for the appointment of Weatherman as the interim trustee over the Pacific Balance Fund. Paul shared that PBF's profile shows it is one of the largest equity fund in PNG that consists of blue-chip companies in PNG like Trukai Rice, Toyota Shusho, BOC Gas, and Origin Gas. Weatherman Capital Advisors Limited, as interim trustee to PBF, will address the issues faced with PBF.
The fund belongs, as you rightly said, it belongs to moms and dads who are in the early 80s, 90s, who are plantation workers and government workers who contributed to building this fund under the investment corporation, which later became the PBF structure. And unfortunately for them, the returns, they haven't seen the returns for the last 20 years or so. So in terms of us, we want to come in as interim trustee, marking a dawn of a new era under your leadership as chairman of the organization, of the Securities Commission, to address the issues that you've highlighted to us. That would be our immediate goal over the next 3 to 4 months.
9 members of the Malabar Provincial Health Board were sworn in today at the Engau Memorial Provincial Hospital. There are 10 members, but 1 member, the local business sector, was not available for the event. 9 out of 10 board members of the Malabar Provincial Health Authority were sworn in today at the Engau Memorial Provincial Hospital's chapel. The 9 board members were called up by the Principal Legal Officer of the National Department of Health, Margaret Asinimbu, to take their oaths. Local business sector representative David Wissing will be chairing the board for the second time, while the board's deputy chair is newcomer and PNG's chief radiologist, Dr. Dora Lentur Katal, who is representing the Department of Health. The other longest-serving board member and local business sector representative who emotionally took her oath was Nellie McLeay. McLeay is also the chairlady of the AHI Prudential Development Board and the president of the PNG Family Health Association. Representing District Affairs is Deputy Provincial Administrator for Social Sector, Robin Basinu. Representing the religious sector is the Evangelical Lutheran Church of Papua New Guinea's Assistant Bishop, Reverend Lucas Kedabing. The women's representative on the board is Carol Yawing, while the 2 local community representatives are Louis Kesu Nakmai from Butibam Village and Pastor David Reeves. The ex officio member of the board is the provincial administrator, Max Bruton. The board member who did not make it today was business representative Zoe Rosalind Harrison. The Health Department's Principal Legal Officer passionately encouraged the board members to remember to be the voice for their people. She appealed to them to never attend meetings empty-handed. Instead, they should always have a notebook in hand with the concerns of their sectors written down to be presented to the board.
There must be a woman's voice written on that paper. There must be a church voice written on that paper. Business sector, community, bring paper into the meeting. Don't come without papers. Don't come without their voices. Because that's what we both do.
Kompia Mambum MP Sejon Pundari has put on notice agencies advising Prime Minister James Marape of important events surrounding the reopening of the Porgera mine in Enga province. Sejon said since the closure of Porgera mine in Enga province, there has been various dates set for its reopening, which did not happen.
The Prime Minister only makes statements upon credible advice from state agencies, and they are expected to deliver on these announcements. An irate MP for Kompia Mambum, Sejon Pundari, said this as he shared concerns surrounding the announcements of important events surrounding the reopening of the Porgera mine, including the actual date that the mine would be reopened. He said state negotiations team, agencies and departments that provide such advice to the Prime Minister must take full responsibility.
Upon whose advice was the dates given? Question 2, who is to blame for this? Is it the state negotiating team, MRA, Treasury, or who? And have we dealt with those responsible? Mr. Assistant Speaker, have we dealt with those that have misled the People's Office twice by advising on failed dates to open the Porgera mine? Mr. Assistant Speaker, can the people of Papua New Guinea know how much has been paid to the state negotiating team on Porgera alone and any other consultant associated with these negotiations? Would I be correct in saying that they may have been paid, Mr. Assistant Speaker, well over 100 million kina to date?
Sejong also raised concerns that being an MP from the Oost province, he is yet to get the report of revenues from equity and royalty received over the last 30 years. He further reiterated that Porgera is a significant asset to the country and that we must learn from the past.
I have heard that there are audited financial reports for the revenues and expenditures of Porgera funds. But to date, I have never cited one, Mr. Assistant Speaker, even when I was Minister of Finance and Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. Mr. Assistant Speaker, can the Prime Minister confirm if these funds have been audited or not? Question 2, if so, Mr. Assistant Speaker, can the Prime Minister direct the Auditor General's office to make those audited reports available to the public?
Prime Minister James Marape directed relevant ministers to take note of the questions and revert to Sejong in writing. He also apologized for the many dates set for the reopening of the mine and assured Parliament that the benefits from the new Porgera mine is far better than the previous mine deal. He also announced that the Development Forum will convene in Varberg next Monday. Freddie Moe, TVWAN News.
Meantime, Prime Minister Marape also explained the government has established a task force to address the forex issues in regards to Puma fuel supply.
Forex is really not an issue. It is the requirement of access to forex that has been an issue, and central bank has been informed that they have to liberalize their monetary policy to ensure that not just Puma, but those who need forex are given support. Our government is seriously looking at using also other currency, including Chinese renminbi, as a currency of trade. We also looking at central bank allowing for central bank to hold specific U.S. or forex account by major clients or those who are those who regularly need forex. Those are reforms that we're looking at to bring into Parliament to ensure we liberalize the forex issue and make sure forex is no longer an issue for us in our country going forward.
And now the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.2790 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our kina was buying $0.2715 US, $0.4130 Australian dollars, $0.2397 euro, and 38.64 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, copper and palm oil closed higher. The rest closed a day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, ASX closed higher, and all ordinaries closed higher as well. You're watching TVWAN News. We'll be back with news from around the region after the break.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SB Lager, Bunyamyumi.
When you're spending time with family, when you've got a big day ahead, when you have given it all you've got, when you're putting on a feast, that's when you want the best. That's when you want flame rice. New Flame Rice. Win him altogether.
Hiya, Mama. You wait then, but me add him special flavor.
Put in more flavor, put in more taste. Magical cuddle, get up and big smile on face. Time for Kim chicken, a great kumutu. Sip, sip, the moo, yes, magic on you.
Magic, the taste PNG loves.
Beauty is my business, but beauty sure is a tough game. Filters are great, but great skin, better. And that's why my skin deserves the best. So I choose self-care, soaps that gently nourish my skin, resulting in a radiant look, made with tropical ingredients. I trust self-care from City Pharmacy, so bring it on! My skin is ready and so am I.
He's back. Maybe the only way he can die is if I die too. For the last time we fight.
Halloween Ends. Premieres Saturday, August 12th, 10 p.m. on HBO.
Australia's favorite chef is taking you around the world to meet amazing people.
Teach me how to make this one.
Experience delicious food.
Bon appetit.
And discover the most incredible flavors.
Yum. Nice.
This is a culinary expedition on a budget.
50 rupees. That's a deal. Whoa.
Cheers. Around the world with Manu Fidel. A brand new series coming soon on Outdoor.
Greatness feeds greatness, captivating this generation and inspiring the next. Will you be there to witness it?
Welcome back. A motion of no confidence against Vanuatu Prime Minister Ismail Kalsakau will now be debated next Wednesday, August 16, after the government didn't appear at Parliament today. 25 members of the opposition camp attended Parliament's second extraordinary session for the scheduled debate. The motion could not be debated because there weren't enough members in attendance to form a quorum. A motion of no confidence against Prime Minister Kalsakau was submitted to Parliament on August 3rd with 27 signatories. Since then, the government has done a reshuffle in an attempt to build its numbers. Large-scale military drills involving the United States, Japan and India are being hosted by Australia for the first time. The annual exercise Malabar has been launched in Sydney, and over the next 10 days, navies from the 4 Quad nations will practice joint operations off the East Coast.
For the first time in the history of Exercise Malabar, Australia is the host, and for the next 10 days, the 4 so-called Quad nations, Japan, India, the United States and Australia, will be conducting various high-end warfare exercises off the coast of Australia in what's known as the Eastern Exercise Area off the Sydney Harbour and further south down the New South Wales coast. This is a significant strategic grouping. The 4 nations that make up the Quad are increasingly close security allies. Earlier this year, the political leaders of all 4 nations were due to meet here in Sydney for high-level talks. That was cancelled when the US President Joe Biden was unable to make it. But on a military level, that cooperation continues, and we're getting a glimpse of it here today. As I say, for the next 10 days, the navies of those 4 Quad nations will be conducting exercises off the east coast of Australia, and that will continue, of course, just after Australia completed another multinational exercise with Talisman Sabre.
The International Atomic Energy Agency submitted its final report to Japan on July 4th on the safety of dumping treated nuclear wastewater into the Pacific Ocean, saying the discharge proposal is consistent with relevant international safety standards. But the small island nations of the Pacific remain strongly concerned over Japan's persistent intention to dump nuclear waste on the ocean. They see this not merely a nuclear safety issue, it is rather a nuclear legacy issue. The significant potential threat of nuclear contamination to the health and security of the Blue Pacific, its people, and its prospects is not to be taken lightly, given the significant reliance of the Pacific people on their ocean. The 18-member regional organization, the Pacific Islands Forum's specific concerns on nuclear contamination issues are not new. For many years, the forum has had to deal with attempts by other states to dump nuclear waste in the Pacific. Leaders have urged Japan and other nuclear states to store or dump their nuclear waste in their home countries rather than storing or dumping it in the Pacific. Malaysia has temporarily suspended live cattle and buffalo exports from Australia, becoming the second country to do so after Indonesia. Jakarta halted trade from 4 Australian exporters after the detection of lumpy skin disease in cattle from Australia.
We understand that yesterday the Australian government was notified that Malaysia was putting a halt on all imports of Australian live cattle and buffalo. It's important to note that Malaysia is a small market for Australian live cattle and buffalo and predominantly imports actually breeding cattle rather than cattle that are then used for slaughter. But this is significant. Malaysia is following Indonesia's announcement late last month. Indonesia notified Australia that it had tested cattle that had arrived from Australia from 4 export depots that had tested positive to lumpy skin disease. Now, this is a virus that affects livestock. It's not harmful to humans, but it's never been detected in Australia before. We know that it's been found in Indonesia since early last year, but Australia really does trade on a disease-free status, including being free from lumpy skin disease. So the Australian government's been responding to Indonesia's concerns about those dozen or so cattle that did test positive once that arrived in Indonesia. We're awaiting the outcome of investigations into that. And in the interim, Malaysia has decided that it's too concerned about these cattle that have tested positive in Indonesia. It's followed suit and now says it won't be importing any livestock for fears that LSD has been found there.
So what's been the response from the government on this latest development?
Well, Karina, it's really important that Australians know that the Chief Vet, the Federal Agriculture Minister, are determined that Australia is free from lumpy skin disease. It's never, in fact, been detected here, and they say that remains to be the case. Federal Agriculture Minister Murray Watt says biosecurity officials are working around the clock to respond to Indonesia's concerns. And we even heard from the Shadow Agriculture Minister, David Littleproud, his full confidence in Australia's Chief Vet that he can once again prove Australia is free from this disease, and he's hopeful that once Australia can convince Indonesia of our biosecurity status, that Malaysia will then follow suit.
Greenpeace Australia Pacific has joined civil society groups, Pacifica activists and climate leaders on Kioa Island, Fiji, as part of a regional dialogue to progress key climate issues facing the region. From August 7 to 9, more than 60 civil society representatives from across the Pacific came together on the remote island of Kioa for a talanoa, or discussion, as part of the next stage of the Kioa Climate Emergency Declaration. Over 2 days, delegates discussed pressing climate issues facing Pacific communities and progressing the design of a regional finance mechanism, the Kato Pacific Community Climate Fund. Sepesa Rasili, senior campaigner at Greenpeace Australia Pacific, said the dialogue highlighted the urgent need for global and regional solutions to the climate crisis, including the establishment of a loss and damage corp damage fund at COP27, a memorandum on deep-sea mining, and the historic Pacific-led campaign for an advisory opinion on the human rights impacts of climate change from the International Court of Justice. You're watching TVWAN News. We'll have your news in sports after the break.
It's in the highs and in the lows. It's in the big things and the small things too. It's hard to put into words, but you'll know it when you see it. Terrain Tamer, when quality counts.
The Planet Shakers Band is returning to Port Moresby. Join us at the Believe Next Gen and Family Fun Day events on the 25th and the 26th of August at Sir John Guy's Indoor Stadium. It will be 2 days of fun with live music for the whole family. Tickets are now available at Vision City. We'll see you there.
Are you ready to meet the best version of yourself? The one with the bright, confident smile? You've got to take pride in how good you look, how fresh your breath smells, and how great you feel. To boss it at work, to be your best for uni, or to catch the eye of that special someone. You've got to brush up your vibe with whiter, healthier, brighter teeth. Brush up for confidence with Colgate.
Chef Scott Laseth is cooking up the world's creepiest critters.
You with me? No.
Iguana, hagfish, and wild boar are just some of the items in this season's menu.
Let's eat. And eat. And eat. It's nothing like you've had anywhere.
Hey, dead meat!
Dead meat. An all-new season. Coming soon on Outdoor.
Is in the ring on SmackDown. You're looking at the judge, the jury, and the executioner right now.
พวกเราเนี่ยชอบกินมากๆแต่พวกเราทำอาหารไม่เก่งเลยค่ะมีคนแล้วเราเลยเชิญเชฟแนวหน้าของประเทศไทยมาสอนเราโดยเฉพาะเลยครับเราจะมาทำโอมาคาเซ่ต้มยำกุ้งฮอกไกโดสกอร์ล็อกแกงปูใบชะคราม not so good คนทำกับข้าวเป็นแล้วจริงๆนะ
Mark Kim and Chef premieres Friday, August 18th, 7 p.m. on HBO.
Before we get underway tonight, I just want to say, what are you looking for in a woman? It's. You gotta help. Oh, right. You gotta help. Yeah. And it's going to be a massive year on Fox League.
Keep coming.
Welcome. In sports, Hekari United FC may be a shoulder above the rest in the Women's Soccer League Southern Conference, but Port Moresby Strikers are not too far behind. Their 6-0 win against South Sinamo FC at the Sir John Guy Stadium over the weekend proved that they can beat anyone. Moresby Strikers led the race from the get-go in the first half and finishing it with a convincing victory, giving its opponent no chance of returning each goal. The dominant display on the field shows that they are threat to the title. Heading into round 7 this weekend, the Port Moresby Strikers sit second on the points ladder with 5 wins and 1 loss. They are showing no signs of slowing down. Hekari United FC tops the ladder. It is the only team heading into the round 7 undefeated. All matches in the Moresby South Rugby League competition are on a 2-week break due to this weekend's selection trials for the upcoming Provincial Southern Conference Challenge. A notice from the MSRFL board advising all clubs presidents that competition will go into recess to allow for the hosting of the MSRL in-house trials this Sunday against August 13, 2023. Chairman of the MSRL, Bagelo Solian, has also announced that Moresby South will host Motu Koita RFL, University RFL, Suburban RFL and Moresby RL. All provincial trials for under-20 and A-grade matches will be played on Saturday, August 19, with the playoffs on the 20th. It will stage at the Moresby South Rugby League Sports Stadium. Solian said the trials are part of the annual programs as an affiliate of Papua New Guinea Rugby Football League. The MSRFL will resume round 12 matches on Saturday, August 26. Recently, in partnership with Australian Defence Force Sports, AFL Queensland and Gold Coast Suns Academy, AFL PNG provided a series of coach, umpire and sports trainer accreditation courses in Port Moresby and Lae. The AFL PNG community came out in force from all over PNG with representatives from West New Britain, East New Britain, Port Moresby, Wewak and Lae, with the dedicated Mount Hagen team spending a day on the bus to Lae. Through these programs, AFL PNG were able to accredit 76 Level 1 coaches, 20 Level 2 coaches, 55 Level 1 umpires and 15 sports trainers. ADF Warrant Officer Georgia Jones was one of the 6 facilitators. She gave a brief overview of what the program entailed and the impact it would have on our local coaches, umpires and trainers.
Out of a week like this is real engagement, some education from coaches from, not just within Papua New Guinea but also within Australia as part of the Pacific Partnership, and so knowledge, education, but most important, fun. I think sport for PNG, it's about sense of purpose, pride, and just being part of a team.
Funding has been an issue in supporting sports in PNG. An initiative created by the Maraperoso government to create trust fund for assisting sports could ease the issue. Minister for Sports Don Polia said this during the PNG Kickboxing Federation corporate dinner recently. Minister for Sports Don Polia admitted that funding has been an issue for sports for a very long time, but with the help of the national government creating trust fund for sports, this could help alleviate the problem. The trust fund can be established when all sporting codes put forward their organizational structure and work in partnership with the PNG Sports Foundation. Minister Polia said sporting codes and organizations need to restructure and position themselves so that they are ready to roll with this initiative. At present, only 4 formally organized sporting codes are in the country with a clear structure. Polia said he has also seen that financial sustainability has not been there and support coming into sports has been lacking.
In the recent initiative, he has created a trust fund for sports in Business Sports Foundations, in that we have sustainable money in it to support kickboxing and other sports federations as well. So what I'm doing as your Minister responsible for sports and support other leaders and other players in this industry supporting sport is to position the Papua New Guinea Sports Foundation to making sure that we facilitate the growth of the various types of sports in Papua New Guinea. I believe that. So what we do, we create a trust fund to sustain sports, and that's the in focus now. And you will see in the next medium term, the next 3 to 5 years, the focus is to support sports through a sustainable financial system so that you do what they do, you see what the leaders can trust, but we as a government will facilitate the growth of the sport.
Minister Pollier stressed that he's still waiting for funding to finance the upcoming PNG Games, and trust fund will be useful in instances like this. The Trust Fund initiative will help the Sports Foundation in easily finance their events and sustain their programs in the long run. PNG Football Association welcomes a very important person in the football world, the FIFA President Gianni Infantino, who is visiting the country this Sunday, August 13th. President Infantino's historic visit to PNG is part of his intention to visit Oceania Football Confederation Member Association while attending Women's World Cup matches in New Zealand and Australia. The FIFA President's visit to PNG will be a monumental event for the football community in the country. President of PNG Football Association, John Capinato, said it would be an honor to host him. Gianni Infantino has been visiting Pacific Island countries, and his visit to PNG is also significant. This visit is part of his plan to visit OFC member associations while attending the Women's FIFA World Cup in New Zealand and Australia.
We are honored for the visit of the FIFA President, Mr. Gianni Infantino, to Papua New Guinea on the 13th of August this month. This visit was part of his intention to visit the OFC member associations countries whilst attending the ongoing FIFA Women's World Cup in New Zealand.
Infantino's last visit to PNG was during his campaign trip to contest for the FIFA president post following the resignation of former President Sepp Blatter. Capinato said Infantino will be visiting the country to fulfill his campaign promise on visiting Pacific Island nations when he wins the election. In addition to that, the FIFA president will be here to witness the appropriation of FIFA's funding to PNG FA.
It's also significant for the president to see for himself first-hand work that has been done in the region, all over the Oceania region. FIFA has spent a lot of money in terms of development, and for him to come and physically see himself, I think it's worthwhile, and that's why he's coming.
The FIFA president will be welcomed at the airport on his arrival at 1 p.m. August 13th. His first engagement will be to visit the PNG football stadium. There will also be a soccer match between football legendary players of PNG and those following Infantino to PNG to kickstart the visit program. Infantino and Capinato will be playing as well in the match. After this, Infantino will meet with PNG FA. He leaves for New Zealand on Monday, August 14 to watch the FIFA Women's World Cup finals. Infantino will be the third FIFA president to visit PNG. Gates will be opened for the PNG football fans to come along and witness the event unfold at the PNG Football Stadium this Sunday. Athletics PNG and the Port Moresby Athletics Association are putting the finishing touches to preparations for the PNG National Championships. It will be held at the Sir John Guy Stadium this weekend. Approximately 70 athletes from various clubs, including para-athletes, will come under the NCD banner. The largest of the visiting teams will be from West New Britain, Oro, Ley, and the National Sports Institute Development Squad from Goroka. Strong competition is expected in all of the men's running events, with all the top sprinters vying for selection for the Pacific Games taking part. Leroy Kamau, Pius Wissel and Emmanuel Anis will start favourites in a strong field of 100-meter sprinters. Emmanuel Wanga, Daniel Baul, Benjamin Aliel, Jonathan Denge, Adolf Kauba and Lord Samare are all featuring in what is shaping up to be perhaps the strongest ever field in PNG Men's 400-meter National Championships. That ends the sports segment. Here is the weather for the next 24 hours.
This has been another edition of TV1 News. I'm Mary Stella Keleton.
And I'm Rex Lita. Bye for now.
The TV1 News was proudly brought to you by BSP, our bank, our people.